This recipe is the muffin recipe. It's part of the whole quick bread family. I'm going to start out making plain muffins and show you the muffin method, and I've decided to add some blueberries to it, and we're going to do a little bit of experimenting today. First thing you need to do is set your oven, and this one sets at 400 degrees, so I've done that already and my oven is ready. The next step is to get your pans ready, your muffin tins. I have a couple of different methods that you can use. Number one, you can get muffin papers. These are just regular paper. Put in each one of the muffin wells. You can choose not to use muffin papers, and what you'll do is just take a little bit of shortening and grease the bottom only of your muffin tin. And the third one, these are silicone. These will stand alone, but I decided to put them in the muffin tin. They peel away from the muffin really nicely, and so it's just a different method of preparing your pan. Not one method is better than the other. Kind of like these. These are reusable, so you don't, once you have a set, you don't have to throw them away. You just peel them off, serve your muffins, and clean them up. They clean up very easily. So I'm going to set this aside, and what you're going to do is put all of your dry ingredients together. And the leavening in this is the baking powder. So this recipe happens to take baking powder, salt, and the leavening is what makes those muffins rise. I have flour in here already. I'm going to add some sugar. I'm going to mix this. Just stir this together. And then what you need to do is make a well, which means just like a center cleaned out a little bit, so you have flour mixture all the way around. And this will be set aside. So I'm going to set this over here. The next step is to take the liquid ingredients, and that's what the muffin method is. You're going to do dry and liquid and then combine the two. So I'm going to crack my egg, and beat this a little bit with a fork. And put in the oil and some milk. It depends on what recipe you're using as to what ingredients and how much. So I'm not giving you any measurements on any of this, because you may have chosen a different recipe than what I'm making. This is a very plain method, plain muffin. So what I'm going to do is pour the liquid in the center of this well, and just pour it in all at once. Now, you don't want to over mix your muffins, and when you're done, they will be lumpy. You don't try to get the lumps mixed out of them, because we don't want to develop the gluten in these. So it's not beating, it's just kind of stirring gently. Kind of lift it so that you have the dry ingredients are coated. You don't have a lot of liquid slopping around in the bowl. I can't think of a better term for it. But you will have some lumps. There will be some lumps, and that's what you need to do. Now, as part of this experiment, I want to take and remove some of this. Probably enough for one muffin. And then I'm going to, because I want these to be blueberry, I'm going to add the blueberries. These were frozen, and I drained the juice off of the blueberries because I don't want purple muffins. All I want is, well, I have a little juice, is just muffins with a little bit of blueberries throughout them. So you're going to fold these. Try not to break the blueberries. And we don't want colored muffins. And that's about as much as I'm going to mix. It's still pretty lumpy. If you can see, there's lumps in it. And what you will do is put about 2/3, fill the cups, muffin papers, about 2/3 full, no fuller than that. And don't get any on your muffin pan itself. And I am not doing any stirring while I'm getting the batter. And you'll drop it in. This is one of those where you have about equal amounts of, no, it's not equal amounts, but it's more liquid than in a biscuit. Not as much as a pour batter with pancakes, but this is a drop batter. Because you do want to drop this in. And I do have some juice that I didn't want to have. I should have drained them a little bit more, I guess, but because these are very purple. Now, if I want to, I'm going to add to this one. A couple of these are a little bit less. I have extra batter here. But I'm going to stir this up a little bit. And so now it's a nice, ugly color. And that's what we're trying to avoid, is that ugly color, especially with blueberries. Blueberries break down pretty easily. So I'll add that to this one. Then the last muffin, I'm saving this one for last. It's plain, but I wanted to beat this, and I don't want to use that spoon, because I wanted to show you what happens when you overmix your muffins. And I'm getting this nice and smooth. But what's going to happen is you're going to make the gluten really tougher. It's when this bakes, the baking soda produces carbon dioxide, and it pushes up through. Normal muffins, it just comes out and they're all pebbly on top. But this is going to have tunnels. It looks like little worms have made their way up through it. And it will have some peaks because it's getting a hard crust on top, and it's really pushing its way up through the top of the muffin. This is not what you want to happen. So I wanted to do just one, because I didn't want this to do this to all of them. So we can kind of see what happens when you overmix. So now these are ready to go into the oven, and they will bake somewhere around 20 minutes. So in 20 minutes, we'll take a look and see what happened to a couple of our muffins that we've overmixed. The timer's gone off and the muffins are ready to come out of the oven. They have gotten just light golden brown. And I don't know if you can see, I'm going to turn it around. See the one that I beat up a lot? It's this guy right here, and it's I'll pull it out. You can see it's really tall and misshapen. This is what they normally should look like. And here's our one that has lots of color to it, kind of gray looking. not the prettiest looking one. Where's my camera? Okay, there. I want to, they're still pretty warm, but I want to look at this one that's really tall, and just to see if it does have tunnels. It's got a very crunchy top, and if you can see the nice little lines going up, those are called tunnels, and that's what you want to avoid when you're making your muffins. And it has a very smooth top on top. It's more crunchy. They taste the same. They're not quite as tender. Here's a guy that, let's see, I'll cut him in two here. And if you look inside, there aren't any tunnels. The blueberries aren't all smashed, and it's a very pebbly looking inside. That's what the muffins should look like when they're done. And this one has a lot of juice that was mixed in and eaten up a little bit more, so that's why it's taller. So that's what we're looking for when we look at muffins. And the two that I took out were in these silicone liners, and you saw how easily they slipped out of the liners. And I'll just put these in the dishwater, and they will clean up, and they'll look good as new. So they look really great. And then what I want to do is just pull the rest of these out, let them cool down. Add a little bit of butter to them, some jelly or jam if you wish to have that. And that's one of the quick breads, and this was the muffin method of mixing.